The morning sun, a gentle cascade of gold, filtered through the lace curtains, illuminating the motes of dust dancing in the quiet living room. Emma, a diligent 10-year-old, knelt on the plush carpet, deeply absorbed in assembling an intricate Lego set, her small fingers deftly clicking plastic bricks into place. Her older sister, 16-year-old Sarah, lay draped across the worn sofa, casually flipping through the pages of a well-read graphic novel. Sarah's figure, slender and almost ethereal, was largely obscured by the oversized, shapeless hoodie she wore, a garment that seemed to swallow her delicate frame. A profound tranquility settled over their home in Salem Falls, Oregon, in early 2015, broken only by the soft rustle of comic book pages and the faint, rhythmic clicks of Lego pieces. Their parents, David and Mary, had departed for the weekend on an urgent business trip, leaving the two girls to their own devices. Emma sighed, a quiet exhalation born of boredom. She had exhausted the immediate possibilities of her building blocks. Sarah, without even bothering to lift her gaze from the vibrant panels of her comic, indolently suggested that Emma occupy herself. With a small, indignant pout, Emma pushed herself up from the floor. She began to wander aimlessly about the room, her eyes scanning the familiar surroundings for something, anything, to alleviate her growing restlessness. Her gaze eventually settled upon an antique wooden bookshelf, its shelves laden with well-loved volumes. Amidst the neatly aligned spines, her attention was caught by an anomaly. A small, dark wooden box. It possessed no visible keyhole, no obvious means of entry, making it an immediate object of fascination. Emma had never encountered this particular item before. She murmured a soft, almost inaudible question, wondering aloud what it could possibly be. Sarah, her curiosity finally piqued by her younger sister's unusual focus, slowly lowered her comic. She observed Emma's intense interest in the mysterious box. With a tone of dismissive indifference, she speculated that it was probably just another one of their mother's trinkets, a decorative piece, and casually instructed Emma not to touch it. Yet Emma's hand was already extending, drawn by an irresistible urge, reaching for the enigmatic object. The box felt surprisingly heavy, its surface intricately carved with elaborate patterns that seemed ancient and unfamiliar. Emma attempted to pry it open, to force its sealed edges apart, but the box remained stubbornly locked. Her fingers traced the carvings, and on one side, she discerned a series of peculiar symbols, vaguely resembling archaic runes, etched into the dark wood. Emma brought the mysterious box closer to her ear, a tiny, hopeful gesture, as if a sound from within might unlock its secrets. Sarah, still half reclined on the sofa, watched her younger sister's burgeoning obsession with detached amusement. She told Emma to stop, dismissing the object as merely an old box. But Emma's focus remained unwavering. She was captivated by the idea of opening it, an urge that consumed her. She began tapping on its surface, then gently shaking it, a rhythmic motion that grew more insistent. Sarah finally pushed herself upright, a flicker of concern replacing her indolence. She asked what Emma was doing, a hint of admonishment in her voice as she warned against breaking it. Emma persisted, her small fingers tracing the peculiar symbols etched into the dark wood. And then, with a barely perceptible click, one of the runes yielded, sinking inward. Both girls froze, their breaths catching in the sudden, sharp silence. The box, as if responding to a hidden command, began to open, slowly, grudgingly, with a low, drawn-out creak. Anticipation hung heavy in the air. Inside, however, there was no treasure, no sparkling jewels or ancient trinkets. Only a single faded and yellowed photograph rested on the bottom. It depicted a young woman, strikingly similar to their mother, standing beside an unfamiliar man. In the background, barely discernible within the shadows, the distinct outline of the very house they now inhabited emerged. Yet in the photograph, the house appeared newer, less worn, and the overall atmosphere of the image seemed unnervingly bleak, almost foreboding. Emma's hand instinctively reached for the photograph, her fingers eager to grasp it. But Sarah reacted instantly, sharply seizing Emma's wrist, instructing her to wait, to not touch it. Sarah carefully took the photograph herself, her expression shifting from curiosity to something more serious, a hint of unease. Beneath the photograph, they discovered a tiny, tightly rolled note. Sarah carefully unrolled it, and together, their eyes scanned the uneven, hasty handwriting. The chilling words stared back at them. "They know where you live. He's coming for you." Emma's gaze, wide and filled with dawning terror, darted to Sarah. She whispered a question, desperate to understand what the ominous message could possibly mean. Sarah's grip tightened on the crumpled note, her heart beginning to pound a frantic rhythm against her ribs. The silence that had once filled the house now felt oppressive, heavy with unspoken dread. Then, distinct and undeniable, heard it. A creak of floorboard. From the second story, a sound that suggested movement, despite the undeniable fact that no one else was supposed to be home. Sarah held her breath, every nerve ending taut, straining to discern the faintest sound. The distinct creak of floorboards above them echoed again, a slow, deliberate cadence suggesting someone, or something, was moving cautiously along the upstairs corridor. Emma clutched Sarah's hand, her small fingers digging in, and whispered a fearful question about their parents. Sarah shook her head, a silent confirmation of their isolation. Their parents were unequivocally not home. A profound sense of dread settled upon them, thick and cold. With a newfound hesitant resolve, Sarah began to move toward the staircase, Emma clinging to her side like a shadow. Each step on the old wooden stairs seemed to amplify the ominous creaks, making both girls flinch with every ascent. Sarah's heart hammered against her ribs, a frantic drumbeat against the silence. She felt an unfamiliar shift within herself, her usual placid demeanor hardening into a fierce determination. If danger truly lurked, she instinctively knew she would protect Emma, no matter the cost. This quiet understanding solidified in her mind, overriding her fear. They reached the landing, their destination the parents' bedroom. The door stood ajar, a sliver of darkness visible within. Sarah, with a cautious push, eased it open further. The room initially appeared undisturbed, a picture of domestic normalcy. Yet by the bedside, a small silver locket lay glinting faintly on the carpet. It seemed strangely familiar. Emma, spotting it, quickly retrieved the item. She observed that it was their mother's locket, an accessory their mother wore perpetually, never taking it off. Sarah's gaze fixed on the locket. It was broken in two, a small, crumpled slip of paper protruding from its fractured hinge. She carefully took it, her fingers fumbling slightly with the delicate paper. As she unfolded it, a single word, starkly scrawled, revealed itself. Truth. A chilling realization began to dawn. Suddenly, a loud, violent bang reverberated through the house, originating from the front door downstairs. The girls froze, their shared breath caught in their throats. Sarah's mind raced, a frantic surge of adrenaline coursing through her. She whispered a sharp command to Emma, instructing her to run and hide beneath the bed. Without hesitation, Emma scrambled away, disappearing quickly into the shadows beneath the heavy bed frame. Sarah, wasting no precious second, snatched an old ornate fire poker from beside the fireplace. Her body tensed, adopting an instinctive defensive posture behind the partially open bedroom door. In her eyes, a new steely glint appeared, a fierce resolve Emma had never witnessed before. The front door, splintered and protesting, was violently thrown open. On the threshold, their father, David, stood silhouetted against the bright afternoon. His face was streaked with dirt, and a raw, palpable terror contorted his features. His breath came in ragged gasps, his eyes wide and unfocused as they desperately swept the room. He called out to his daughters, a frantic inquiry about their well-being. Sarah, still gripping the heavy fire poker, slowly lowered the makeshift weapon, her expression a mix of confusion and dawning realization. She questioned him, her voice hushed, about what had happened. David burst into the house, his gaze darting frantically around the familiar living room, as if searching for an unseen threat. He quickly explained that they had encountered something on the road, something that had caused their car to break down. He had run back to the house, leaving Mary behind to await assistance, her fate unspoken but implicitly perilous. His eyes, in their frantic scanning, landed on the small, dark wooden box, now open, resting on the coffee table. Then they fell upon the silver locket, clutched tightly in Emma's trembling hand as she slowly emerged from her hiding place beneath the bed. David's eyes widened further, a flicker of profound recognition and dread passing through them. He asked, his voice barely a whisper, thick with a desperate anxiety, if they had found it. Emma, still shaking, clung to the locket. She recounted their discovery of the box, the hidden note within it, and the unsettling sounds they had heard from upstairs. A wave of profound weariness washed over David. He sank to his knees, his face paling, etched with a deep, consuming pain. His gaze, filled with anguish and despair, met the frightened eyes of his daughters. He took a deep, shuddering breath, the words heavy on his tongue, confessing that he should have told them everything, that he should have protected them from this long ago. Before David could offer further explanation, the insistent ring of Mary's phone shattered the strained silence. David snatched the device, his face undergoing an immediate and chilling transformation. His eyes, moments before filled with desperation, turned cold, an almost glacial intensity replacing the panic. He spoke quickly, his words low and urgent, into the receiver, then abruptly ended the call, cutting off any further communication. He looked directly at his daughters, his voice now firm, resolute, devoid of the earlier fear. He declared without room for argument that they needed to leave immediately. The urgency in his tone left no doubt that the precarious normalcy of their lives had irrevocably shattered. The family sped along a winding, unfamiliar road, the car's engine a strained growl against the rising tension. David gripped the steering wheel so tightly his knuckles turned white, his gaze fixed rigidly on the asphalt ahead. In the back seat, Emma and Sarah sat in a stunned silence, their small figures pressed together, the earlier shock now replaced by a chilling realization of their predicament. Emma still clutched the silver locket, its broken halves a tangible symbol of their shattered peace. Sarah held the crumpled note, its stark words a constant, terrifying reminder. Sarah's voice, a hesitant whisper, broke the quiet, seeking desperately to comprehend the chaos that had engulfed them. She questioned her father about the unfolding events, the cryptic message, and the sudden, urgent necessity of their departure. David's response came slowly, each word seemingly dragged from him against his will, laden with a heavy, unspoken history. He explained that their mother possessed a past, a life lived before him, a history steeped in profound danger. She had escaped from it, he revealed, a desperate flight from unseen adversaries. Their cherished home, he continued, had served as her sanctuary, a place where she believed herself safe. But now they had found her. As he spoke, his eyes flickered to the rearview mirror, a fleeting, almost imperceptible glance. On the road behind them, a dark SUV materialized, a silent, menacing shadow in their wake. Emma, her face pale, looked out the rear window, her small finger pointing at the pursuing vehicle. She asked, her voice trembling, who they were. David exhaled slowly, a deep, ragged sound that spoke of years of suppressed fear. He told them that those were the people their mother had fled, individuals intrinsically linked to the house, to its hidden secrets. The wooden box, he explained, had contained the key to her past, a truth they now sought to reclaim. With a sudden, decisive jerk, David swerved off the main road, sending their car plunging onto a narrow gravel track that snaked into the dense woods. The SUV, relentless and unyielding, followed, its headlights cutting through the deepening shadows of the forest. Sarah's gaze shifted to the fractured locket in Emma's hand. She asked about its significance, if it held a deeper meaning beyond a simple piece of jewelry. David nodded, a grim acknowledgement. He explained it was a family heirloom, a symbol used by those people, a mark of their connection. Its deliberate breaking had been their mother's desperate act to sever ties, a declaration that she was no longer one of them. But now, his voice trailed off, swallowed by the accelerating terror. The pursuing SUV, a dark, unstoppable force, slammed into their rear bumper. The impact sent a violent jolt through their car, throwing them forward. The girls screamed, their cries swallowed by the sudden, deafening roar of crumpling metal and shattering glass. David's car, now a mangled wreck of twisted metal and shattered glass, slammed violently into the ancient oak. Its momentum abruptly halted. He slumped forward against the deployed airbag, utterly still, lost to unconsciousness. Miraculously, Emma and Sarah, though shaken and bruised, emerged physically unharmed, yet their faces were stark white, etched with the chilling terror of the collision. From the dark SUV that had mercilessly pursued them, two ominous figures, cloaked in long, flowing black garments that obscured their forms, emerged with an unsettling, deliberate calm. They moved with an unsettling purpose, their footsteps silent as they advanced towards the wrecked vehicle. Sarah's instincts, raw and primal, surged to the forefront. Her hand shot out, seizing Emma's small, trembling wrist, her grip firm and urgent. A silent command to run passed between them. They scrambled from the crumpled car, propelled by an unseen force, and plunged headlong into the dense, shadowed embrace of the forest. The dark figures, relentless in their pursuit, followed, their silent menace palpable even amidst the rustling leaves. Sarah, despite the cold knot of fear tightening in her stomach, moved with a newfound agility, guiding Emma deeper into the undergrowth, her own body shielding her younger sister from the unseen threat. She recalled fragmented pieces of their father's casual lessons, playful anecdotes about stealth and survival that had once seemed like mere games. Now those childhood stories had transformed into a grim, desperate reality. They finally dove behind a massive fallen tree trunk, its gnarled roots offering a meager, temporary sanctuary. Sarah pulled Emma close, pressing her tightly against her side, her arm wrapped protectively around the smaller girl. She whispered a fiercely whispered assurance that they would get through this, a desperate promise born of love and a terror. Emma trembled uncontrollably, her fingers still clinging tightly to the broken locket. She gazed at its fractured surface, then up at Sarah, her eyes wide with a dawning, terrifying comprehension. Emma whispered a single profound word: truth. Sarah met her gaze, a silent acknowledgement passing between them. The fragile illusion of their peaceful lives had shattered irrevocably. They now understood, with a chilling clarity, that they had been irrevocably drawn into a dangerous, hidden world, one their parents had desperately strived to keep secret. And as the sounds of approaching footsteps grew louder, they knew they had to be ready for whatever was coming. Their lives had irrevocably changed, and the battle for their future had only just begun.